Hey there, hero. It's David H. Lawrence the 17th, and I have something to confess, and that is that for all of the guidance and suggestions and support that I give you about self-talk and positivity, there are times that I really get down on myself. And I've noticed that one of the most common times when I do that, the most obvious times, is when for some reason I am late for an appointment, when I am late for a meeting or a lunch or certainly casting can drive me a little crazy. I take a great deal of pains never to be late for that. But when I am, it just drives me a little nuts. And I have to sit in my car or sit after the event and I have to go over it in my head and I have to deal with it. I'm rarely late. Like I would say 1 out of 200 times because I take so much care about making sure that I fool myself and I pad my time. And I want to talk about this in a second. But I feel this way, I think, because it feels disrespectful to me. It feels like I'm not respecting somebody else's schedule. And the funny thing is, when other people are late in meeting me, it doesn't really bother me all that much. I mean, I'd like them to be on time because I'd like to have more time to spend with them. But I get how sometimes things are completely out of our control. But I went looking for reasons why I feel the way I do. And I went down a rabbit hole a few days ago with all kinds of articles and all kinds of videos and all kinds of resources and stuff on being late. And I've had a book sitting in my library for a long time by Deanna Delanzor called Never Be Late Again. And I've read it a couple of times and I'm like, okay, that's not me. That's not me. But this time I went back through it because she describes some things that maybe, unfortunately, apply to you or someone that you know, and you can't fix it, right? So it's a two-step process for me anyway. It's just a little two-step. It's like a little two-step dance, right? And the two-step is find out why, right? Dig in and find out why you are late, if you're chronically late, if you're always late, if you have decided to wear this badge of, oh, I'm always late, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 and you're making light of it or you're dismissing it as something everybody does. Not everybody does that, right? And again, I'm not trying to be accusatory towards you, but maybe there's somebody in your life that if you understand this, you might be able to help them with it if they're open to it. So dig into why you're late. Maybe it's just a simple, you think it takes 10 minutes to get from where you're going to where it's going to be, and it just simply doesn't. It looks like it might, but it doesn't. You have to, open your front door and lock the door and make sure you have all your stuff. And it's a longer walk than you think it is, or it's a longer drive than you think it is. It might just be a lack of knowledge of time and space and we have this image in our head, it can't be that long, or you underestimate things that you don't have any control over, like traffic or weather or in our business, other things that come up for both you and others. It also might be, unfortunately, a complete lack of respect for others, or a positioning of yourself as being more important than others, or a declaration of war on being controlled by somebody else and their schedule. You're not going to be told to be where, when, and when you show up late, that's another notch in your belt where you've stuck it to the man or the woman or whoever. And if it's you, if it's somebody else, if you notice this sort of thing and you can realize that that's actually why you're doing it, whether it's a lack of understanding of time and space or an issue of disrespect or of sticking it to the man, once you know that, then you can do something about it. So the second step in the two-step, first step is dig in, figure out what is causing this. And the second step can be nothing else but fix it. Now, That sounds a lot simpler than it can be for people that are challenged by being late. The first thing that happened to me was I lost some opportunities very early in life because I wasn't cognizant of time. I lost an opportunity to work at a radio station. I lost an opportunity to do an industrial film because I just didn't understand the amount of time that was needed to get to some place, the amount of time that was needed to prepare for things. But eventually I figured that out and I fixed it. I figured out in my head that I was underestimating things that were pretty easily measurable. How long does it? This was long before the days of Google Maps, where it would tell you how long it's going to take you right now to get from here to wherever you're going, including traffic, including backups, including construction, including the weather. That wasn't the case when I first started working in the business, right? And if you find out how to pad things, even if you have to go to the point of fooling yourself, like I'm going to be 20 minutes early so that I'm never late. We think, well, if I waste all that time sitting there waiting, why would I do that? Well, you've got a smartphone. You can still do work on your smartphone or your iPad or your computer while you're waiting. And it gives you a bias for action. You've heard me talk about a bias for action a lot of times. Doing it so that you don't have to worry about being late. There are going to be times when the best laid plans are completely destroyed by things that you have no control over. You start off, Google Maps says it's going to take you half an hour to get there, and 10 minutes into your trip, a huge accident occurs on the freeway, and you're backed up for an hour. There's nothing you can do about that. You could have left an hour early, and it wouldn't have been helpful, right? So get that. I understand that. But if you simply don't care, or if you resent being on time, you resent being part of somebody else's, this is what you're going to do, taking instructions for somebody or being on their timetable, about creating an appointment and keeping it, or if you feel guilty about being late in the past. And again, I'm going to say it again, I'm not necessarily talking about you, maybe somebody near you or just like you or in your circle of friends or family. You don't want to change things because then that would add to, like, now I'm able to do it, but before I was a failure, right? And work to be more responsible, not only to others, but to yourself. If you figure that if I'm on time, I'm just kowtowing to somebody else's demands, let's find out why that belief, which is a limiting belief, let's find out why that belief exists. Let's figure out why that rule set is something that you follow in life. And let's change that to an enabling belief, because whether you know it or not, it's holding you back. It's retarding your growth. It's stunting your movement on your journey. And when you're able to pad your time, even if you fool yourself, set an alarm, don't let the alarm have a snooze function, whatever it is that you do to move back your beginning motions towards going to the event, right? Instead of leaving with 10 minutes to spare, leave with 20 minutes to spare and see if that makes a difference. If it doesn't, leave with 30 minutes to spare, because clearly you're not estimating things properly. The point is, this is such a fixable thing. And when you do it, this is the hidden gem. You're actually doing yourself a huge favor, a huge service. Because now, instead of being viewed by others as somebody who is not dependable, somebody who is disrespectful, somebody who is declaring independence, right? And we're going to talk about this in an upcoming video, because actors, performers in general, they have this penchant for declaring independence from the entire rest of society. Instead of being viewed like that, you're now being viewed as dependable and being viewed as rock solid and being viewed as trustworthy, or not being viewed as either, which is just as good as being viewed as responsible. If nobody really thinks about the fact that you're late all the time, or Like, nobody notices that I'm usually waiting for them when they show up to a lunch engagement or to a meeting. I'm usually waiting in the lobby for them to come out and get me or whatever. I'm never making them wait. That's my goal, right? I don't think most people notice that. I don't care that they do. I know that it helps me keep a level head, and I'm still a work in progress. I'm still working on the facts when it just fails. When it just fails. I mean, I talked earlier about the problem with my teaching at the Groundlings this year, where I had put in my calendar when I was in a different time zone what time the event was, and it was not appearing properly, and I got a phone call saying, "Hey, where are you?" Oh, right. I was crestfallen. It was awful. I hope this helps. And if you're always on time, good for you. I'm really happy for you. Help others. Pull them along. Help them make the world a better place, right? Let me know what you think about this. Do you think I'm preaching at you? Do you think I'm like taking you to task? That's not my point. It's not what I want. I really just want to help. Let me know in the comments below if this is something that you struggle with. And if you'd like to be on my list, I'd love to have you. You can take your time about it. You can do it whenever you want, or you can do it right now. Just look for the box below at the bottom of the page that says get on the list, and then I'll let you know when these videos come out. And I would love to have you on my list, and I'd love to be able to help you with your career. I'm David H. Lawrence the 17th. I thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you tomorrow.